From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Border security. We take you to Washington to hear from the experts who say they have a better plan to secure our border at a better price.
Promoting equality. See how city officials and women's rights pioneer Lily Ledbetter are working together to create equal pay opportunities for Phoenix workers.
Washing away history. A damaged levee threatens Winslow. Access across Arizona takes us to see what the county is doing to stop the potential flooding of Route 66.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Jamie Warren.
And I'm Julia Thatcher. Thanks for joining us.
House lawmakers grilled the Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement today, saying her agency had released more than 30,000 immigrants with criminal records last year. Cronkite News reporter Liliana Salgado was at the Capitol today. Liliana?
In a testy 2-hour hearing today, the Judiciary Committee pressed on ICE Director Sara Saldaña on 2 counts, demanding to know why officers are prioritizing some arrests and why thousands with criminal convictions had been released.
The agency released thousands of criminal aliens convicted of offenses involving dangerous drugs, assault, and domestic violence.
But she let them know they are catching more than they are letting go.
More than 102,000 were apprehended in the interior of the United States, and perhaps more importantly, 85% of those were immigrants previously convicted of a criminal offense.
An answer that didn't sit well with Republicans on the committee.
It bothers me tremendously when, as the director of ICE, you come in here and tell us one of your #1 priorities, you basically don't have a clue whether you can do it, you are doing it, or how many you're releasing.
But Arizona Congressman Trent Franks pinned the blame back to the White House, saying that the president
put you in a very difficult position, and I say that sincerely.
On that note, most of the hearing focused on a card that ICE officers carry with them that details Obama's immigration priorities. It basically can
give an officer flexibility in making a decision whether someone fits within the priorities and should not be removed.
Saldaña said the card is part of the substantial training that ICE officers have received as they implement President Obama's order to focus on immigrants who pose the greatest threat to the United States. Live in Washington, D.C., Liliana Salgado, Cronkite News.
Build the fence is a common phrase heard in border states from politicians who want a fence and more Border Patrol agents to stop illegal immigration. Cronkite News reporter Andrew Romanov heard from a group of experts that say there could be more effective and less expensive ways.
And complete the dang fence.
It'll work this time.
A panel of experts in Washington says it won't work by itself.
Just measuring fence in a linear fashion or numbers of Border Patrol agents really, I think, was doing a disservice into really capturing what was actually happening.
In fact, a former Homeland Security Secretary says almost half of illegal immigration doesn't even happen at the border.
Roughly 40% of the people in the United States without authority came as overstays. And one of the reasons that's important is because that is not a pathway into the country that is going to be dealt with by lining up people between the ports of entry.
Fences can work in border cities, he says. They slow people down and give border agents time to act.
Because a fence doesn't, after all, keep people out forever. All it does is slow them up.
But wide open desert with no humans for miles calls for a different strategy.
It's a little bit like playing football. You don't put everybody up on the line. You want to have some people playing back, because sometimes the way you're going to wind up intercepting something is by playing back of the line.
If Congress wants more fencing, it'll cost more money. A recent report says the federal government already spends more on immigration enforcement than on the FBI, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and Secret Service combined. But while they argue over numbers, there's one that politicians don't want to hear.
100% operational control is just not achievable. But I think many members on the Hill were uncomfortable with the fact that 90% would be as good as it gets.
In Washington, Andrew Romanov, Cronkite News.
Congressman Rahul Grahava will be holding a community forum on immigration executive actions in Tucson this Friday. Students and families who have been directly affected by DACA and DAPA will share their stories.
Turning now to the state legislature and a number of bills that were given the final pass or fail vote by Governor Doug Ducey early last night. A string of House bills regarding election reform fell on the governor's desk. 2407 tackles campaign rules, 2608 increases required voter signatures, and 2415 increases allowed campaign contributions. All three were passed by the governor. Concerning land in the state, HB 2176 would ask the federal government annually to hand over more land to the state, and HB 2318 would have let Arizona join an agreement with Utah to acquire public land. The governor vetoed both of these bills and instead signed a bill that would create a committee to look into these issues. House Bill 2296, a bill that would have given county attorneys the option instead of a mandate to help with uncontested adoptions, was vetoed, according to the governor. It could have reduced the number of adoptions. And finally, Senate Bill 1185, a bill that gives landlords the ability to remove tenants' house guests by police without notice, was passed by the governor in order to give renters more power over their properties.
Ducey also signed a bill today to prevent counties, cities, and towns from banning or charging fees for reusable containers such as plastic bags. Supporters of Senate Bill 1241 say that plastic bags are useful for many purposes and cities should not be able to get rid of them. But cities like Tempe and Flagstaff have been working to pass ordinances banning bags. Activists say the state should do more to protect the environment and reduce waste.
Tempe residents, we use 50 million single-use plastic bags in 1 year. 50 million bags. That creates a real burden on the waste stream.
Today is Equal Pay Day 2015, with supporters calling for awareness for equal salaries in the workplace. Ahead on Cronkite News, we take you to the state capitol, where advocates and lawmakers rallied for change in wages.
And one Valley town is helping take care of the environment in a colorful way. We'll take you to Gilbert to learn more about their paint recycling program.
I'm free. I'm free. And freedom tastes of reality.
This winter, we'll take you to the heart of Downton.
You have to take control of your feelings before they take control of you.
Thomas. We'll place you at the scene of the crime.
Trouble seeks you out, doesn't it? Yes.
And we'll fly you to the ends of the earth.
Are you seeing this?
Support the one place that can take you any place.
Hi, I'm Beth McDonald, host of 8's brand new show, Arizona Collectibles. Filming for season 2 is right around the corner. For your chance to be a guest on the show, visit us online at azpbs.org/collectibles.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Make sure to sign up early because spots fill up fast. I look forward to meeting you and seeing your treasures. Until then, thanks for watching. Thursday nights at 7:30 on 8 HD.
News doesn't stop on Friday at 7:30 at night. PBS NewsHour Weekend is kind of a natural next step. The NewsHour's been committed to being available on air or online, and now weekdays or weekends. There's no shortage of news that's out there, but why do people come to us? To give them some context and analysis that they can't find somewhere else.
PBS NewsHour Weekend, only on PBS. Check local listings.
Arizona officials gathered today in honor of Equal Pay Day, a day picked in advance by the National Committee on Pay Equality years ago to bring awareness to the gap between men and women's wages. Cronkite News reporter Melda Mejia was at the conference and spoke with Equal Pay pioneer Lily Ledbetter.
Ledbetter is certainly an icon in this fight. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, in 2013, women working full-time here in Maricopa County made 83 cents for each dollar that a man made. This year, Arizona lawmakers are looking to change that.
In fact, I learned after 19 years that I had been paid 40% less than the white guys that had the exact same job I did. And then I just couldn't let it go because the first thing that popped in my mind was my retirement, my 401k.
It is for women like Lily Ledbetter. The government officials from all over the state celebrated Equal Pay Day in Arizona.
When women win, Phoenix wins.
Just last month, the city of Phoenix passed legislation to enforce equal pay policies in the Valley.
The first major contract at the city of Phoenix that will have our new equal pay language in the contract will be airport retail.
That new contract requires airport businesses to report its efforts to close the pay gap. Also making new commitments today, city leaders of Tempe and Tucson.
It's happened to us, it's happened to our mothers, and we shouldn't let it happen to our children. So we are happily working together. We're going to also use our Women's Commission in Tucson, Arizona.
According to the U.S. Department of Labor, on average, women make 78 cents for every dollar that a man earns. The wage gap varies from job to job, but statistics show that women always make less than their male counterparts. While equal pay is federal law, Ledbetter says it takes support from cities and their communities to enact change.
You can start a battle, but it takes a lot of people to win the war.
At today's conference, Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton also described the city's efforts to hire more women for traditionally held male positions, like firefighters and police officers. I'm Imelda Mejia, Cronkite News.
An Arizona institution is paying tribute to the late Raul Castro. The Arizona Capitol Museum has opened a temporary exhibit memorializing the former Arizona governor's life. The exhibit has a collection of memorabilia designed to honor and highlight Castro's legacy. Arizona's first Hispanic governor passed away last Friday at the age of 98.
Cronkite News is renewing a commitment to track the recovery of the heroin addicts featured in our documentary investigation, Hooked, Tracking Heroin's Hold on Arizona. Tonight, we revisit Dara on her path to sobriety.
You think you can move away from it, it's gonna follow you no matter how far away you go. You know, you can't run from it because it's something inside you that you need to get right. And you need to get help to get over the heroin because it's just so powerful. I have a relationship with my family again, which is something I didn't think would happen. And I love myself today, you know, and that's something I didn't even really do before I started using heroin. I've never really been okay with me. And throughout this process, I have learned how to be okay with me. Well, today I'm married, which is somewhere that I never wanted to be or thought I could be. I have a 1-year-old right now, and I'm 4 months pregnant, and it's amazing. My husband's in recovery too, and it's awesome. Almost 4 years later, I hardly ever think about heroin unless it's me looking at somebody who's using and being like, God, I'm so happy I'm not there. You know, it's just like relief. It's not like, no part of me is like, oh, I want to go get loaded. It's seeing people who are obviously high or doing a drug deal or are relapsing or in jail, and it's just like, just thank God that I don't have to live that way anymore. I'm a survivor of it now. I saw myself as a victim of heroin, but no, it's something that you move past, and it's just part of my story, you know, made me who I am today.
We hope you join us tomorrow night here on Cronkite News as our investigative team revisits more former addicts on their path to recovery. For full multimedia coverage on the Hooked AZ project, go to CronkiteNewsOnline.com.
Still ahead on Cronkite News, we'll take you to Route 66 and check out a plan to keep the historic highway out of the path of a failing levee.
Plus, it has been a hot and breezy day in the 90s, but do we have a chance of cooler temps? It's on this week's forecast coming up.
For veterans, coming back to civilian life brings new challenges, new opportunities, and new stories of remarkable courage and accomplishment. Sharing their stories can help communities understand the veteran experience and, through Arizona Veterans Coming Home, 8 connects veterans and their families to resources and services for a successful transition to civilian life. Explore some of the best resources and opportunities for veterans at azpbs.org/veterans. Arizona Veterans Coming Home, connecting Arizona's veterans to the right resources at the right time. Watch sneak previews of what's coming soon to 8. Go to azpbs.org/previews today. Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University, delivers new ideas and new worlds to the explorer in you.
Access Across Arizona allows us to travel to the 15 different counties in Arizona and find new, fresh voices and underreported stories.
It's been a great opportunity to travel to places we haven't been to before and talk to people we haven't heard from until now.
With our new technology, we're now able to deliver stories directly to you from across Arizona.
Live in Mojave County, reporting live from Prescott, live in Parker, Arizona.
Cronkite News brings you Access Across Arizona.
Navajo County officials are making several reconstruction plans to rebuild the Winslow Levee in an effort to protect the historic Route 66.
As part of our Access Across Arizona commitment, Cronkite News reporter Maria Thompson traveled to Winslow to find out more about the county's plan and why rebuilding the levee is crucial to the city's survival.
Sometimes we forget we do have a history here too, and the Mother Road is part of that.
Winslow, Arizona sits in a floodplain with a 7-mile levee that protects the town from the Little Colorado River. 2 major floods in 1993 and 2003 damaged the levee, and in 2008 it was decertified by the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
High schools, elementary schools, public safety, the local government that are situated in the flood zone. And that's where our main concern is at this time.
The Navajo County Board of Supervisors recently approved a $66.2 million plan to rehabilitate the levee. Aside from protecting the city and its historic landmarks, the city says a rebuilt levee would prevent more than 6,000 property owners from paying mandatory and costly flood insurance premiums.
Bringing a new company into Winslow is difficult right now because they don't want to locate in a floodplain where they have to pay higher insurance premiums and risk flood damage to try and operate a business.
The budget proposal calls for several points of action, including rebuilding the Winslow levee where I'm standing and building new levees parallel to Interstate 40. These are meant to preserve the ruins at Himalabee State Park and the bridges on Route 66. However, some Winslow locals think differently about the plan.
It's the federal government spending way too much money that we don't have on a project that is, pardon my language.
Some locals feel that hiring a contractor could get the job done more quickly and cheaply. However, Palkin says they need the best people to do the job.
Nobody knows levees better in the entire world than the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Winslow is a hub of transportation for all of northern Arizona. It is home to a major transcontinental railroad, and Interstate 40 passes through the city. Palkin stresses that a flood could wipe out all transportation access in the area, affecting not only the town, but the entire state as well.
Our transportation infrastructure will be not only impacted, probably crippled. If one of those floods came in at the south end of the levee, it would basically wipe out all of that infrastructure.
Construction is not expected to begin until 2020. The federal government will cover 65% of the budget plan. The remaining funds will be split between the city of Winslow and Navajo County. In Winslow, Maria Thompson, Cronkite News.
It has been a windy afternoon. Will those winds bring cooler temperatures? Casey Brecker is here with the breakdown of this week's weather forecast.
Yes, it's pretty windy out there. We're looking at 17-mile-per-hour winds already this afternoon, and that's only going to increase as the night goes on and into tomorrow. Although right now in Phoenix, it's pretty warm, 93 degrees, and those temperatures are going to drop down into the 80s starting tomorrow. So we do have cooler temperatures throughout the rest of the week. Although we're expecting, yes, cooler temperatures and tracking a possible storm system from the southeast, which is going to bring in those gusty winds and just a slight chance of rain tomorrow. As we take a look throughout the entire state, you can see up in Flagstaff, it's 30-mile-per-hour winds already this afternoon. They have a wind advisory up north throughout Arizona, and that's only going to increase as the night moves forward. We're looking at 30 to 40-mile-per-hour winds throughout the state tomorrow in general. As we take a look at our highs today, down in Yuma, 95 degrees. Up in Prescott, we're looking at 73 degrees, and in Tucson, 86 degrees. So with these warm temperatures, warm and dry conditions, and winds that are increasing, we're going to see extreme fire conditions. We have red flag warnings throughout the entire state, so just be on the lookout for that, especially as winds are increasing tomorrow and into tonight. As we take a look at our 5-day forecast, you can see we have a 10% chance of rain on Wednesday, and temperatures are moving into the 80s throughout the rest of the week and up into the 90s on Sunday once again. For your Cronkite weather, I'm Casey Brecker.
Coming up on Cronkite News, one Arizona town found the solution to a problem sitting in almost every homeowner's garage. See the process of paint recycling in action.
At ASU, we believe the most important semester is the one that starts after you get your diploma, the one called life. So we work hard to help our alumni thrive, teaching them the importance of not only achieving their goals, but exceeding them. With innovative programs that embrace hands-on learning, that encourages real-world growth. Our alumni know it can be the education of a lifetime, for a lifetime. For more information, thrive.asu.edu.
Should I believe in the world, mama? I think so. Should I give up and hide, or should I stay and fight? Should I believe in the rules, mama?
What are the consequences?
Can I speak out my mind in these changing times? I don't know what to believe, mama. Will you march with us? There's a fire inside, there's a storm on the rise. Give me a reason to be, mama.
Buonasera.
'Cause I need someone to believe.
The world is more complicated than it's ever been.
The NewsHour is always going to take you deeper and take you broader.
And that is worth fighting for.
Night after night, 7 days a week.
I'm Maria Hinojosa. I'm Gwen Eichel. And I'm Judy Woodruff.
On behalf of all of us here, thanks for watching.
Cronkite News is proud to join the Arizona PBS News block here on 8 HD.
Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
Next, after Cronkite News, it's Arizona Horizon. Hear how the recent legislative session impacted charter schools, and we'll learn about an interactive project designed to raise awareness of the state's water challenges. That's coming up on Arizona Horizon.
I'm Gwen Eichel. On the next NewsHour, the power of gravity, turning drinking water into electricity in Portland, Oregon. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
The city of Gilbert recycles paint to promote sustainability and ultimately stop the dumping of paint in local landfills.
Cronkite News reporter Katrina Arroyas was given a tour of the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Facility and found out what they do with donated paint.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency says nearly 70 million gallons of unused paint is left over in homes, businesses, and landfills throughout the United States. To decrease that number, Gilbert is one of 20 Arizona cities recycling paint and offering residents an incentive for keeping paint out of landfills.
On a daily basis, Rick Niner distinguishes good paint from bad paint.
We'll pop the lid, we'll look at it, and you'll know right away if it has a bad odor, it's bad. It won't go into this mix. If there's lumps, a lot of rust, clumps in it, that'll also go into the bad paint.
Residents can donate their leftover paint and other household items at the Household Hazardous Waste Facility Wednesdays through Saturdays in Gilbert. Once the old paint is donated, the process to create recycled paint begins.
The stuff that's smooth, that actually smells like paint, that pours smoothly, we'll pour into the 55-gallon drums.
A mix of different colors is combined into one barrel to create the colors of tan and gray. Once paint is mixed and separated into 5-gallon barrels, residents on a waiting list can pick up recycled paint for free.
Well, we try to keep everything out of the landfill. We actually recycle over 92% of everything that we take in.
Residents all over the valley can sign up for the free recycled paint. Residents can go in and browse a shelf full of barrels when they receive a call from the facility.
It's a good source for a lot of people to get free paint, and keeps the chemicals from the landfills and the environment.
Niner Fills finances are another reason why people can benefit from this recycling program.
The real benefit is the money. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's, nothing against Home Depot or Lowe's, but $150, $200 for a 5-gallon pail. They come here, they get a 5-gallon pail for free.
All the bad paint collected by the Household Hazardous Waste Facility in Gilbert is sent off to Amazon Paint in California, where they recycle it and use it for fuel. In Phoenix, I'm Katrina Arroyos, Cronkite News. That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Find top Arizona stories anytime at CronkiteNewsOnline.com.